Hey Rob, I was thinking the other day about that movie. You remember the movie Trading Places, Rob, from 1983?
Do I?
When
Yes, I do.
when they were in the room together, when the boardroom of the little country club thing or whatever, and the guy's like, "I want you to put your right hand on the shoulder of the man to your right, and then reach your hand into the pocket of the jacket on the man to your left. If I were to do that to you, Rob, what would I find in that pocket?"
You'd find a trick in my pocket.
Hey, because there's a trick in your pocket, ladies and gentlemen. It's me and Rob, Butcher Rob, Butcher Rob, here to talk about Star Trek once again. We are bringing it back with is that a Trek in your pocket number 7 out of 50? Because we're doing the random selection of the top of the first 50 pocketbook Star Trek novels, having already done all the bantams. We're onto the pockets. And today, our randomly chosen by the dice selection is August 1988, novel 41, The 3 Minute Universe. Soft boiled, I believe. In 3 minutes, I believe it's soft boiled. So that's exciting. So by Barbara Paul. Did you remember
Or
this?
married. Maybe it's the married universe.
There you go. Did you remember this one at all, Rob?
No, but I'm sure I bought it back
Oh,
then.
I know
probably read it.
I know I bought it and I read it. I owned it, so I must have bought it and read it.
But I might not have though, because I was in basic training when this came out. But so it's possible that I missed it.
Interesting. Well, yeah. So it's written by Barbara Paul. Barbara Paul died last year. If you didn't know it, like at age 91, by the way.
Shit.
This is her only Star Trek novel. She attended Bowling Green University in Pitt, lived in Boston. She wrote a couple other sci-fi books like Exercise for Madman 1978 and Pillars of Salt also 1978, but mostly she was a mystery writer. The last novel she wrote was 1997's Full Frontal Murder. It was a mystery novel. So not much sci-fi, only one Star Trek, and this is it. But she did give it a shot, and she made it number 41. I mean, we were talking about elite company. If you wrote one of these novels, man, we got to give props to you because you got published writing a Star Trek novel. That was our dream in 1985. So,
Absolutely.
yep. So yeah, and it's 265 pages. And I'll tell you what else I liked about this, Rob. The chapters were all almost exactly 20 pages long, right? Some of them were 21, some of them were 19, some were 23, but they were all right about that. So you knew when you looked down at the page, you're like, I've got to be getting close to the end of the chapter here. Ta-da! So that's cool. For some reason that worked for me. So I like
I
that.
like that. Yeah, I don't like it when the chapters are too long, and too short can be a problem too because you never stop.
Yeah. I still remember reading uh The Running Man by Stephen King. There's like a couple chapters in there that are like a paragraph long. It's weird. Yeah. You're like when you start a chapter and end the chapter on the same page, that's too short. But 20 pages each was really worked for me. So yeah, so this is a novel from right as we're about to attend college in 1988. So that was exciting, I thought.
Yeah.
Uh,
Probably the first one that came out after we graduated, I imagine.
yeah, if you figure if they came out every couple months, yeah. It would have been one in June, I don't know, but we'll get there eventually, right? So anyway, so this novel is a story about I wrote things are getting hot in here. Hot enough to destroy stars. I put an exclamation next to that. That's kind of weird. If stars are hot, right? And if you have something that's hot enough to destroy stars, you're like, well, what is hot enough for that? And so I'm reading this and I'm going, oh, the science behind this doesn't make any sense. And then when you realize, oh, what they're talking about is a universe that's near the Big Bang, like extruding into our universe. Well, what we know is that our universe, 3 minutes after the Big Bang, that's what they mean when they say the 3 minute universe, is the universe 3 minutes after the Big Bang was pretty damn hot. It was also pretty small, but you figure all the matter in all of our universe was packed up into a tiny little ball and then it explodes. And at 3 minutes, things are still really hot, right? And they have to spread out a lot before they cool down, right? So, and our universe is still expanding as far as we know. But they don't really spend a lot of time talking about the mathematics of all that, which is probably just as well because I don't know that Barbara Paul, not being a sci-fi writer, knows the science behind it. She just knows it's hot, and you don't want to be around something that's hot. So, unless it's Paulina Porskova, as we were talking about off the air. So,
also from 1988.
That's right. So here's the thing, though, when something like that is happening, when there's another universe that's really hot expanding in our universe, Kirk and company are going to get the call, and they do. They get called to investigate and figure out this mysterious and icky sackers. That's an interesting villain group we had in this episode. This mission, I thought, are involved and find a way to set things and stop things before everyone's forced to attend the weenie roast. Is what I wrote. I apologize for that. So it's a pretty interesting setup. The cover. What'd you think of the cover of the book? The cover of the book. We get precious few covers with Uhura as a featured character on the cover of the book.
Let me see. The 3-minute universe. Yeah. It's got Uhura looking baffled.
Yep.
It's got Kirk looking like he just thought, "Hey, I like Donnie Brasco. I should watch Donnie Brasco."
Oh, that's an inside joke. People were sorry. We'll forget that by the time we listen to this again. But
right, and it's got the Enterprise kind of hanging right from a rift. It looks like kind of like a dagger. It's a pretty basic cover. I'm trying to think of why Uhura is pictured so prominently, but.
Well, she spends a lot of time having bad dreams about fires and stuff like that. She gets to do a little bit of parkour in this one. We learned that she attended an advanced mathematical institute when she was only 10 because she met somebody there who died in a fire, and that's going to come back to haunt her. So we get a little bit of her in this.
So we're going to get to this, but the premise is that there's this new burgeoning universe, if I use that word correctly.
Burgeoning, I believe so, yes.
Yeah, no, I was worried about universe, but anyway,
oh boy.
Why is it they don't get there 3 minutes after it starts? Why are they, you know what I mean? Like, why isn't it the 3.5 weeks universe or the month universe? I mean,
it's all very. I mean, so the understanding behind it is that the idea is the universe. The theory of the Big Bang is that the universe was all matter in the universe that exists now was originally in a single point, right? Had no dimension, right? And so it was obviously packed incredibly densely and was very, very hot. You take a block of iron and you condense it down and compact it more and more you compact it, the hotter and hotter it gets, right? Because all the molecules are bouncing off each other. So the idea is that there's another universe that's that hot, and it has nowhere to go, and suddenly you tear a hole in it and it can spill out. Then it's going to expand, and a lot of that hot material will come out of there. I think that they don't really play with the idea. They just said it's hot. Well, hot space isn't hot. Stuff in space is hot, right? So hydrogen's hot and helium's hot and stuff like that. And we're going to give her a pass on it. It's hot, right? There's hot stuff, baby, this evening, and it's burning up stars, and it's expanding. And the idea is they figure out that there's this device that started this that was invented by these aliens, and they also invented a device that can turn it off. But if the thing gets too big, they won't be able to get close enough to the hole in space to close the hole using the device that they designed to close the hole. The idea is this person from this alien race explains, no. See, what we did is we figured out if we open a hole into this universe, we can tap the energy as it comes out very slowly, and it's like an unlimited form of energy, right? We'll have all the energy we ever need forever and ever and ever again. We can control it with this thing called a baryon reverter or whatever. And it's like the secret to permanent clean energy, except somebody else steals it and uses it for various purposes. Tale as old as time, and that's where things go wrong.
And it may be causing a problem in the universe you're tapping into, or where your tap is tapping.
Yeah, and we don't even consider what might be going on in that other universe. Turns out we know that there's not a bunch of Federennials running around that other universe because it's too young for
Yeah.
them for life to form there. So anyway,
So they really should have called this book then "Fuck the Other Universe."
yeah, which is essentially that. We're just worried about,
Right.
well, I guess you could say if we close the rift between universes, it will go back to the way it was supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
So then
Could go wrong.
whatever was happening there is fine. So they're sent to do this, and we find out that these villains, that we're going to call them villains, although maybe we'll change our mind on that at the end, or maybe we won't. They're the Sackers, or we learn later they're the Venithi. Uh, they are shunned throughout the galaxy. They're hard to look at. They're deafening to listen to. They're Horta-like to the touch. And ooh, that smell! I don't know. Are you a Skinner guy? Do you get that reference? Okay, yeah. So for some
This is
reason,
that, and I will say, so we already have a couple of good Star Trek ideas here because we have something has entered our galaxy, universe, whatever, and it's looking grim, and the Enterprise has to stop it. That's classic.
yeah, classic.
We
Absolutely.
saw that with the Doomsday Machine. We saw it with all kinds of stuff. What's the amoeba one? The immunity
Yeah, the
syndrome.
immunity syndrome. I
Oh,
think definitely
yeah,
this feels like this definitely starts out feeling like the immunity syndrome and ends up feeling like the Doomsday Machine. So
yeah. And then the other thing is the idea that you don't always judge a book by its cover. That's very Star Trek. So
yeah,
I like what she did here. She makes the most gruesome, repulsive race imaginable, and then we'll see if they're good or not. So I thought that was cool. Also,
yeah. Don't judge a book by cover. That's very Devil in the Dark, right? So, and we only get like one reference to Klingons, and they don't even think about mentioning Romulan. So that's a little bit of a breath of fresh air because we've been Romulan and Klingon heavy in our Bantam and now Pocket books
yeah,
tour.
and I was a little surprised. There's no exclamation points. There's no rapey Spock. I mean, she's really taken the novel in a new direction here.
This is a procedure. It's very similar to the TV series, you might say. Yeah. I was surprised at the lack of callbacks. I'm glad you mentioned Doomsday Machine because that's good. I really got the Devil in the Dark vibe. I think that at some point they mention a couple other episodes, because Uhura essentially talking about her dreams. They kind of give the quick run through of all the planetary missions she was on. They're like, remember when you went down to Plutonius and the Plutonians were mean to you? So like, she imagines in her dream all that was burning down. And then there was that time on Triskelion, and then briefly on the planet with the Guardian of Forever, and that's it. That's all the downway missions I ever did. Woo! Didn't get to go down to shore leave that one time when everybody else was on shore leave. I can't help but notice that. Uh, so yeah, there's not a lot. And then hey, by the way, so on the subject of new crew, it's mostly security guys. We do get a backup communications officer whose name starts with a W, and I didn't write it down because but we get some security officers. We get Franklin, who becomes a burn victim, Chang and Hrolfsson, one who dies off screen and one who dies on screen from flames. But you know who else we get? I wrote down Lieutenant Berengaria, but I'm pretty sure it's actually Lieutenant Berengaria Noonien Singh because she's
Okay.
short and feisty and serious and commanding and tough. And that sounds like our good friend Laan from Strange New Worlds, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Except on
Who
the
I
short part.
actually who I actually like, except for the Noonien Singh business.
Well, they're going to have to do something with that,
Yeah.
because all it is just hanging out there waiting to be misused unless they come up with a good way to use it. So, uh, but you can really, I mean, if you didn't know better, and I'm pretty sure this is not true, the writers of Strange New Worlds are reading this novel and going, I like this security officer. I think she's got some chutzpah, and we should make a character like her for our new TV series.
I think that's what happened.
She's telling Spock what to do, and Spock's like doing it. I mean, that's impressive, right there. She's like, Spock, stay back, and Spock's like, well, I'm the first officer, and you're a lieutenant, but okay, I'll do what you say. because security protocols and all that stuff. Well, that's good. So like I said, it was not hard to figure out who would play her because it'd be Christina Chong who plays Law Noonien Singh from Strange New Worlds. That's who I had. But then we also get a couple other guest stars who are humanoid-ish. Dorelian is our Zargosian survivor. She and Kirk get to empathize with each other a little bit. We get some back information knowledge from her, but then she's gone and we don't get to see her much anymore. So I would say here and gone, and more than here and gone. We also get, I think the only other real guest star is a Gelkanite guy who we find out was forced by the Sackers to poison some people on Holics, and I've thrown out too many names to keep track of already here. So and then we have all the damn Sackers themselves, and they have names like Pinky Tuscadero and Black Betty and Ramalam. And
Yeah.
basically, if there's a color, you're gonna put if you can come up with a name that has a color in it, you know that orange juice and vodka. They named one of them orange juice and vodka.
Yeah, we had Scarlett O'Hara, we had Mr. Green Jeans. Yeah, we had all kinds of good stuff.
It was fun. That's so we'll talk a little bit more about that. We do get another big bad ship, what you call a ship that's, much like when Khan played by Bartleby, Cracker Jack there in Beyond in Into Darkness. He was like 2 times the speed, 3 times their firepower, all that stuff. This ship is big and scary and weaponized and don't want to fight him in a battle right up until you fight him in a battle and defeat him in a battle, right? So
yeah, I must say, Butch, I'm getting a little tired of the trend of the last, well, I guess this century of the Enterprise kind of being a bitch as far as a ship. Everyone's got a better ship than the Enterprise.
And some these like nobodies who are part of the Federation from the planet Zergos. I mean, they built the ship, and it's like 3 times the ship the Enterprise is. It's a transfer. It's literally a robot in disguise, Rob. The ship is. It's
yeah, we were talking about Michael Bay like 2 days ago, or was it yesterday?
It was just yesterday.
That's a transformer in space.
Yeah, and I mean it's got all the bells and whistles. But I get if you're an author and you're like wanting to write something, you're like, well, I want to do something that's never been done before, and B, that you couldn't do on screen if you had to like budget for it, and so come up with some weird ass stuff. All I can think of when the ship is like transforming is Spaceballs, when the bad guy ship is turning into like a vacuum cleaner or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's not a good thing to think of when you're reading a Star Trek novel either. But I don't think it's the novel's fault. They didn't know that.
Well, if you think of the Enterprise as like a shiny Corvette or something classic, something real nice. This is like a Hummer, right? Some big giant clunky gas guzzling.
Oh yeah, that's probably true. So if you were to say, I wrote down the 2 words that I would say are what this story is about. I guess are prejudice and forgiveness. I guess because we're gonna start by hating the Sackers because they're bad guys doing bad things, and then we kind of are supposed to empathize with them. I mean, we've all been that guy there where maybe you're the new redheaded stepchild in town, and you're not much to look at, and you come into town, they're like, man, you smell bad, and when you touch me, it burns me, and I don't want to be around you, and
We've all been there.
The sound of your voice makes my eardrums rupture, and I vomit just looking at you.
Hey, you kind of sound like my ex-wife right now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so you're like, and these guys feel so bad about it that they're like ready to burn the universe down unless people just like let them in. Let me come to your party or I'm burning the universe down. We've all been there.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've all been.
Well, I don't know if you remember what it was like, and you moved to a new town, Butch. Let's say Idaho Falls. There's a bunch of grups everywhere.
Grups, that's exactly right. Yeah, because these guys, let's face it, what are these guys if not I'm sorry, saccharennials? Are they saccharennials? Is that what they are?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe zapparennials?
Something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, but and then they do some bad things, And Kirk is still going to find it in himself to say, look, I think it's just we don't understand each other. And once we understand each other, you're not too bad a people. We'll send you to, and they use the phrase, and they don't use it in a way that's meant to sound horrifying, but they use the phrase, we'll send you to re-education camps. Like, yeah, that's a phrase that hasn't aged well. It probably shouldn't have been, it probably by 1988 hadn't aged well either. But,
yeah, that was hitting kind of close to home here in 2023. But yeah, it was a little. Yeah, I think anybody born after a world war probably doesn't like that so much.
yeah. Hey, you know what my favorite part is? My favorite part is when they're like so when Kirk's trying to get an excuse to go back to his quarters on the enemy ship, and they're like, "Oh, you probably will want to go back and engage in the mating ritual with Lieutenant Uhura." And he's like, well, you can go if you want to." He's like, "Shit, I guess I'm just gonna say yes to that."
That was the first time I ever read the word giggity in a Star Trek novel. So yeah.
Giggity. So I mean, there was a little bit, and then when the one sacker starts speaking to Scotty in the same accent Scotty has, that's a little goofy, but it was fun. So there were some fun moments in here. Generally, I thought. I will say this once again: I am for shit when it comes to being able to pay attention to, like, when they're talking about tactical battle maneuvers. And if have we read a single novel yet that didn't have tactical battle maneuvers? They all do, because we all wanted to put them in there. When I wanted to write a Star Trek novel, I wanted to write all the tactical battle maneuvers, and I don't know what I was thinking, because I just can't make heads or tails of any of it. I was like, yeah, they're making an Immelman turn, and you know what that is. I was like, no.
I think I think the only time I've ever found the battle maneuvers stuff interesting is in Balance of Terror and Star Trek 2. I mean, every other time it doesn't seem to work well.
Yeah, I'm with you. So, but it was one of those things where I really, really always wanted there to be more of it on the TV show, and there wasn't. And then as soon as the books are giving me what I want, I'm like, I don't understand. So,
well, I'm getting a little tired of just doing whatever and calling it the whatever maneuver.
yes.
Just like, not everything you do is for the history books. Oh yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, I mean, we saw that in Strange New Worlds already.
Yeah, that's right. We'll call it the Pike maneuver or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Picard maneuver, and that was for the first season of TNG, and the Riker maneuver was from this third Star Trek movie in the TNG era. Yeah, so then, yeah, just say evasive pattern delta, man. Just throw a Greek letter in there and let's go to work. So, all right. Yeah. So, do you want to talk about it any more generally, or do you want to just get into it?
Let's just get into it. But I do want to say, Butch, one of the first things I noticed in the book, and I did like this book.
Yeah.
It was an enjoyable read. It wasn't one where I devoted a lot of time to thinking about the science, because that would have made my head hurt right away. The only thing that really the first thing that jumped off the page literally at me was I thought everybody seemed in character in the book, but there was a little bit, mostly by Kirk, a little bit by Spock, of they'd be like, "Hey, Captain, what do you think about it? Doesn't matter. Don't care." And I don't remember Kirk ever talking that way. And Spock does it too at some point. Not doing like a full sentence.
Yeah, the whole.
Did you notice that at all, Butch?
It was. I think I did. I don't know that I wrote anything down when I was noticing it. But yeah, that kind of not hearing, not. There are times in the original series where Kirk would be like, I don't have time for a debate, kind of a thing.
No, he would say, "I don't have time for a debate." He wouldn't say, "Don't have time for a debate." You see what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
So the sentences were leaving off a couple words, and I was like, I don't remember Kirk ever doing that even once. What does that have to do with anything?
Talk to the hand, I think. Yeah, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think I generally liked it too. I think there's a couple things that feel a little weird about it. Like I said, I think for me, and we'll talk about it more as we go through this, but for me, Kirk's a little too willing to just let bygones be bygones. I was like, Scotty's over there going, I watched him like turn my buddy Horolfson into a torch, and And we're
Well,
just going to let him slide on that one. And they're like, well,
I think Kirk does let him slide. Not by Star Trek 6, he's not letting shit slide, but the Horta was doing exactly the same thing.
That's right. I guess he schmittered a lot of those guys, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, they were dying 2 at a time and 3 on Sunday, and Kirk, the episode wasn't even over. He's like, "Hey, man, can we all just get along?"
He said no kill I. Did he not say no kill I?
That's
right there.
And he did that a number of times. He did that. He was not mad at the Romulan commander who had blown up a bunch of outposts.
That's a good point.
You know what? He was having drinks with the Gorn during the closing credit.
Damn it! You make an excellent point. I have to admit that I believe you're right, that it is somewhat consistent with how he was portrayed in the original series. So, all right, so the chair is yours, as it were. You can sit on it. So, all right, so without further ado, let's jump in. Then they start slow. I mean, the galaxy is on fire. We learned that one of the Federation worlds, the planet Zergos, is gone. I mean, when we find out about we didn't even know it existed, and it's gone already. It was apparently the epicenter of something that's going on. There's a heat front moving through. We got a heat front that's going to be passing through for the next few days. And we expect temperatures to go way up. I mean, like Alderaan hot out here, if you know what I'm saying.
It's an El Nino space summer.
Yeah, so things are getting bad. And the star there is that Zergos Circles is also gone. So then they're like, well, what else do we know about Zergos? Well, there's some colonies. They're all gone, except this one, Holox. There's a Zergosian colony, Holox. We should go there and check things out. So they do. And then after they learn about this, when you learn that the universe is on fire, you might start having bad dreams. I literally had a dream last night because I was reading this about I'm outside and I'm looking up and all of a sudden the trees around me are bursting into flames. And I was like,
oh, wow.
And I didn't realize until the morning. I was like, damn, did the book do that to me? I think the book did that to me. So it happens. You start thinking about fire and it can get into your dreams. So her is having nightmares. It turns out she had a childhood trauma where a friend of hers named Tiana, that the Princess and the Frog, Tiana, by the way, if you're wondering, that's her name. So she died in that fire, and Uhura had some guilt about that because she was 10 at the time and attending the Institute for Advanced Mathematics. So she goes to the doctor and asks, "Hey, can I have something to make me not dream?" And he's like, "Well, we can't do that, but I can give you a pill that'll make you not dream." I was like, did he just say, yeah, whatever. So anyway, long and the short of it is that he helps her out or whatever. And eventually they figure out the problem. Spock figures it out, of course. Spock and Scotty, I'll give Scotty some credit in this one too. Scotty plays a pretty big role in this novel, and the two of them between them figure out that that there's another universe breaking into ours, and it's a universe that's very, very young, like just 3 minutes after the Big Bang, hot. Yeah, because the temperatures, the scientists think they know how hot things were, 5 minutes after the Big Bang and 15 minutes after the Big Bang based on these mathematical models. And so they're like, it's a 3-minute universe. So that's pretty cool.
I could see it being that for a minute, but then it's a 5-minute universe, or then it's a 10-minute,
exactly.
All right, but
every single time you ask, it's going to be a different universe. But usually it's like when they named Spanish flu after Spain, and then later they realized that it was not the correct name, but it didn't change the name. They just kept calling it Spanish flu. So maybe it's like that, right? 3-minute universe it is. The name will stick. It's like when somebody calls you Butch in 9th grade. It's one time, and there's just no getting away from it.
Yeah, as much as you tell your friends it's Patrick now, they don't listen.
Nope.
They keep calling you Butch.
It's all over. So I can understand how that happens. But that's a question is, okay, so there's this huge calamity, but did it happen naturally or did somebody make it happen? And why would you want to make this happen? I mean, because it seems like it's going to destroy everything there is, and everybody in this universe is part of that everything. So the mystery is afoot.
It makes no sense at all. But speaking for our own planet, we do stuff like that all the time. Like, why would you think this is a good idea?
well, it's very Doomsday Machine, right? So we don't know. We at this point we just don't know what caused it. So then so that's chapter one. In chapter two, we get to meet the mystery ship that we're going to hang out with a lot in this. It's a huge warship. It's built by the Zergonians, which are the ones who just had their planet destroyed by whatever this is. But apparently, they're not running this ship. It's the Sackers, Rob. The Sackers have done it. Somehow the Sackers have stolen the ship. The Sackers, of course, as you know, are a race of aliens that smell bad, look bad, sound bad. We don't. They never tell us how they taste, but touch, sound, sight, and hearing, are all are and all none of that's good. But they've stolen the ship, and now we immediately suspect they must be onto something because they've stolen the ship, and now they're on this planet Holox, and they're breeding more, breeding more. Are they breeding an army of sackers down there? What are they doing?
You know what I was picturing when I read this was in Lord of the Rings when the orcs are being born.
Oh yeah, that's a
or
good yeah.
Not born, but whatever they
They're
have.
stirring the mud down there, and then all of a sudden a
Yeah.
hand comes up and chokes out one of the people stirring the mud. Yeah, and it's some buff orc guy. Yeah, absolutely. That's very because and it's more gruesome than that. So how would you describe how they describe? Does their description of these guys make sense to you? How would you describe them if you were going to tell the viewers what's a sacker look like, Rob?
Well, it sort of fits the image of what I think of when I think of a politician, but it sounded cool. It was I did think I liked the sacker thing. It's like, okay, how can we take xenophobia to the extreme here? But it sounded like they were like all kind of translucent.
Yeah.
They always described it looked like white worms crawling around inside that you could see, and you could see their organs, and I just was like, oh my god, it looks, it sounds like maggots, and
yeah,
it was pretty gross. I thought it was cool. What'd you think?
It's pretty gruesome. I couldn't tell if they were like very, you know what I mean, if they had like human facial features but just clear, or if it was just like, you know, one of those cartoon characters from Saturday morning cartoons where it was just like an outline of a human being and a bunch of stuff inside it, right? And it's like, it just is human being shaped, or if they actually kind of had like all the fingers and stuff that a human sort of has.
I don't know. I was kind of picturing the Edgar Winter group. I don't know if that's too soon, but no, it sounded like they were humanoid. And apologies to Edgar Winter, but
he probably hasn't read this book. I'm sure it's okay.
Friend of the podcast, soon to be.
Yeah, that's right. Soon to be a friend of the podcast. Yeah. So they are running the ship, and they are not chatty. They are hiding on the other side of the planet, and they're not responding to hails.
Well, and they're described as being like these kind of like door-to-door salesman types that everybody does business with because they're fair, but nobody likes to see them.
Yep. You just leave it on my doorstep. That was if ever there was a race that needed to be like an Amazon delivery guy, it's this guy. We'll just knock on your door, and as we drive away, and then you come out and get the nice stuff we delivered for you, and you don't ever have to look at us. You don't have to leave us a tip. You don't have to leave us a 5-star review. Just we'll agree to never see each other, and that'll be the way we want to. So
I guess you would call that Grubhub if it looked like grubs crawling around.
Oh, it makes so much more sense now. Also, I'm hungry, so I wonder if I could order this late. Yeah. All right, so they beam down to Holox, and when they get down there, because this enemy ship's not talking to them, so they beam down to Holox, and there's a bunch of people down there who are dead and a bunch of people who are dying, and they realize that they've been poisoned. Somebody poisoned the water hole, as Woody once said on Toy Story. And not only that, but the poison that they used apparently was a kind of poison where it's a slow acting poison. So lots of people would drink the water and are gonna die before anybody actually dies, so that they know something's wrong and can stop drinking the water. Right?
Yeah, so if I remember, also, isn't it like a pretty inoffensive, peaceful culture that's getting poisoned here?
Oh, it's the Holox. people
Yeah.
are these Zergosian colonists, right? So
Oh,
so
yeah. So no reason anybody can think of why anybody would want to do this diabolical deed.
yeah, and it turns out that so we get a very small view of Holox. I mean, so at some point they're kind of walking around some deserted buildings where all these people used to live, and nothing really comes of that. We don't learn much about the Holox people other than they're mostly dead. There's some survivors, and that somebody from another planet entirely poisoned them. That's all we learn, right? And so this is where we meet our new security chief, Lieutenant Berengaria. She's no nonsense and tough. We get a little bit of background on the Sackers. You are one ugly mother son of a bitch, which is the son of a bitch is technically the quote. Kirk calls him an ugly son of a bitch when he's looking at a picture of him. He's almost throwing up looking at a photo, which is
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard the comedy special, the Aristocrats, where they have it's this one joke that all these different comedians all tell amongst themselves, and they make it as vile and as offensive as they can. And I was listening to George Carlin's version of it, and I was like, I did not think that anybody could use words in a way that would make me sick to my stomach until I heard George Carlin telling that joke. And I was like,
Really?
and I was like, damn, I'm impressed. I have to stop watching this movie now because I can't listen to this anymore. Yeah. Uh,
But
just
you've come a long way from really not getting the hour back joke to giving a tip of the cap to George Carlin. Good for you, Butch.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. When you hear a joke 50 times during a movie, you get the joke eventually. It's all just in the telling, right? So the idea of that joke, by the way, I'm getting out of on the side here. The idea of that joke that's told by comedians, and they all tell it to try and impress the other comedians with how vulgar they can be, is it's about this group of people that go to try out for a talent show, and they go on the stage, and when they say, okay, do your thing, and they do this thing, and then the comedian describes the most offensive thing that they can imagine a group of people doing, and they're like, well, that was horrible. What do you call your act? And they're like, the Aristocrats, and that's the joke, right? And it's weird. It's like but Drew Carey telling it, and then George Carlin telling it. George Carlin, yeah. So that I never thought words could make to move me to be sick to my stomach, and I'm sure Kirk didn't think that looking at something would make him physically ill, but these guys
I
do.
kind of want to watch that now.
Oh yeah, you should. You totally should. Uh, I'm sure it's gonna
What's
be
it on?
Jay's next pick. I don't know. I checked it out from the library, so I
All
don't know what
right.
it's on.
Okay.
So Uhura is still talking about her dreams. And then we find out that one of the survivors on Holix may be able to give them some answers. So, but we have to wait for her to get better. So that's chapter 2. And then in chapter 3, they are like, "Well, we can't wait for for answers up on the ship." So Scotty, apparently the Sackers have built some structure down on Holix that they're calling a blister, which is weird. Everything's hot, and they're calling this thing a blister. It's basically a big bubble that they
Yeah.
have built down there on the surface. And so they go down to investigate it, and Scotty and 3 security guards investigate it, and they realize it's probably some for the Sackers. They seem to be breeding somebody down there. Maybe they're breeding pools or whatever. They grow their young in a little, bathtub kind of a thing on the surface. It's really hot down there, so they're like, well, can't they do this on their ship? Why do they have to do this on another planet? They're invading another planet, poisoning everybody just so they can breed. What they just assume it must be nefarious purposes, right? So, as you would honestly, naturally, probably assume.
Yeah.
So Chapel explains the poison, which we already talked about. Spock and Baron Garia find who the poisoner was. He's about to kill himself. He's a Galchanite. We don't really know much about them other than they're short and squatty because they come from a planet with a lot of gravity. He's trying to hang himself out of guilt. The Sackers apparently forced the Galcanites to poison people on Holok so that they could use the breeding pools there without obeying like local land use laws or paying the prevailing wage or whatever it is that they have to
All
do.
that red tape. I mean, don't you
Yeah.
just get tired? Seriously.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Yeah, and so anyway, the Gelchinite is explaining we had no choice. They blew up our ship and they were threatening us. What else could we do? And Baron Garia reads them the riot act. This is very La'an Nudian Singh. She's like, "Well, you could have resisted. You could have fought them with every inch. You could have like told your boss, your friends back home, not to answer their robocalls. You could have like thrown away all their mail distribution letters that they send to you with their advertising. You could have put yourself on the do not call list.
She's like Savick indignant.
Yeah, oh yeah, she's Savik's another good comparison. She's like, I would have found a way, basically, is what she says. And then they find a device on the guy, the Gelkane. It's something put inside his arm, which is great because then Uhura and Spock go to work on figuring out what it is. They figure out it's a transceiver so that the sackers can listen in on the conversations that this guy is having.
You know what that sounded like? Which it sounded like if you had Vitaly Klitschko trying to explain to Evander Holyfield why he quit on his stool way ahead on points with a dislocated shoulder. Holyfield would have been like, "What the hell are you talking about, guy?"
No, you're right, exactly. It's like get out there and try. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, but not everybody is the go-getters, and you get the sense that the Galkanites are, not as uh, made of not as stern of stuff as Lieutenant Baron Gary is what it is. So, but you know how Baron Gary is. I mean, somebody of that stature, you just can't, we just met her like 5 minutes ago, so I'm I'm pretending like we know anything about her. Yeah.
He's the George Carlin of security officers.
Thank you. Thank you for correctly pointing that out. So then we find out that Scotty's little landing party has been attacked. One's dead. One's grievously burned and returned to the ship, and Scotty is missing along with the other guy. So that's a problem. Is he dead? Is he prisoner? Is he dying down on the planet? Scotty! We're freaked out.
We're going to find out that it was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Yeah.
It was like, all right, I'm lighting you on fire then.
Yeah. Try to set the night on. Something. Yeah, fire. Exactly. All right. So then, so now having figured out this transceiver, Uhura is trying to figure out the language because that's what she does, and she's enlisted Chekhov's help. And Chekhov and her are just arguing back and forth. It's like, why are you trying to figure out what the Sacker word for borscht is? He's like, you don't know they don't like eat borscht. You don't know. So that's fun. Chekhov gets a big role in this too, and I'm not sure if I have to read Keptine more or Wary this or Wadka that. It's like you think reading the Scotty stuff is hard, man. Reading the Chekhov stuff is hard.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you're not lying here because all through the Star Trek novels, they're never cured of it, especially with Chekhov. Probably more than any other character. It's Jigov, but Scotty a lot also.
Yeah.
Leif Erikson himself. It can get rough. I mean, the authors are having fun with it, but come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, we can self-edit this when we're reading Chekhov lines. We can make it wary instead of very. We don't need you to spell it for us. We know how it is. So then we have to get our obligatory asshole admiral call. To Admiral Quinlan, by the way. He's like, get a move on, Kirk. Out. So thanks for that, Admiral. Always help. Glad to have the help from you guys. It's great.
That's a real pep talk right there.
Absolutely. So then, so time is of the essence, and then Kirk talks to the woman. The woman's name, the survivor, her name is Dorelian. She's actually from Zergos, not Holox, but from Zergos, the planet that's now ashes somewhere else in the galaxy. Kirk's like, I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but your whole planet's gone. She's like, oh, it's. I'm imagining it's Ferris Bueller's girlfriend when the nurse tells her that her grandmother's passed. It's like, oh.
You know what I pictured here in this scene, Butch? You'll appreciate
What's
this. Al Pacino's on the planet. And this woman comes running up. My planet. Chico.
No? Long hug from Al Pacino. That's right. That's what she needs right now. And Kirk is there to give her a shoulder to cry on, just like Pacino would have been. So she tells Kirk about this universe thing that they have. So the Zergosians, in addition to building a warship that can kick Enterprise's ass through 6 days to Sunday, they have also built a device that can open holes into another universe, and they've built a third device that's awesome. It can close the hole to the other universe. And somebody stole all three of them.
And I'm not buying any of this.
Yeah, it all happens off screen. It's like, well, how exactly did they steal all this stuff from you? What happened? What happened? It seems like it'd be hard for you. They're like, well, we're just some Zergonians doing our Zergonian stuff, and they steal. So the fact that it happens off screen, we're left to figure out amongst ourselves how that happened, and I just can't get there. So suspend your disbelief and just remember they stole the three coolest things that the Zergosians ever made, basically.
I could almost imagine someone coming up with some way to start a new universe. I can almost do that.
Yeah. So
I cannot figure out how once you did that you could seal the rupture. Never mind, didn't happen. It's fine.
Well, what it is, it reverts baryons. I'm sorry, it reverts leptons. The leptons are reverted into baryons. I mean, I could do the math for you, but it's as simple as that, really.
Well, thank you. Well, I felt pretty leptarded when I tried to, wrap my head around
That's
it.
fair.
I was.
So here's the problem then, okay? So they have this cool ship that's like 3 times better than the Enterprise, and they have this device that's on the ship that can fix the problem, but they won't talk to you, and you can't get on their ship. You can't attack their ship because even if you could figure a way to blow up their ship, and you can't because it's 3 times as good as yours, even if you could, blowing up their ship blows up the thing you need, so you can't afford to fight them.
Yeah.
They're in a pickle, Rob. Pickle, I'm telling you. So this is a problem. I would say that. So anyway, but we do finally meet personally a Sacker because Scotty is prisoner of the Sackers with Hrolfsson. There's a name that's more unpronounceable than that guy. I don't know what it is. And they're on a planet, and they're being kept in a refrigerated cell so that these guys who are very warm, the Sackers, can come in. And they're like, yeah, actually, hey, do you happen to know anything about engineering? Oh, you do? Well, we could use you. Meanwhile, that other guy over there, Rolfson, he apparently is not of any use to us. So they just light him up. And Scotty has to watch him burn to a crisp, seared to a crisp. And now he's going to be given a new job. Scotty is, so that's great. So
it made me want to grab a wrench or a club and just go after these Sackers myself. Am I wrong, Butch?
They are hard to live with. I mean, the thing is, they're apathetic, right? They're just violent against humans, and they don't seem to care. And that's like the worst thing. It's like they're not vengeful, they're not angry. They're like, well, you're of no use to us. Pop, there you go.
They're not even contemptuous. They're just like, they just are like, you're in the way, so burn, bitch, burn, woo, woo, right?
Yes, you got to go. All right, so Kirk spends a lot of this. There's 2 chapters in this book where he comes out of a deep sleep. Right, this one he's sleeping again, and McCoy wakes him up, and he says that the woman's going to survive, and they've turned over the guy who poisoned them to the survivors, and they're going to try him, and it's a just society, so they're sure they'll do him right, considering he tried to wipe out their entire planet. The Sackers have made contact, and they want the captain, the communications officer, and the navigator, or else. And again, they hold all the cards, so Kirk is correct in that, well, we got to play along, right? So they agree to beam down, but they create a trap. Baron Gary's got this trap where they're going to beam down 20 security guards and have this whole thing ready so when they get down there, they'll be ready and there'll be a big firefight. And what happened? Something happened on their way down to the planet, and now they get beamed away, and now Kirk and Chekhov and Uhura are on the enemy ship instead, leaving Berengaria, with the corset on and the dress on and the hairdo she paid for and no prom date. So that's terrible. I think we've all been there. Maybe not with the hair done, but yeah, we've all been there. And so they beam up to the Sacker ship, and then the first thing we see is Chekhov blowing chunks. Because again, all we hear is that just looking at these guys makes you throw up, and just smelling these guys make you throw up. And if you're looking at them and smelling them, brother, you're gonna throw up. And so Chekhov's throwing up. Kirk is, of course, doing the thing that Jay wants Pike to do, which is, you know, being a man and resisting the urge to throw up. Good for him. And then we finally get to meet, and they talk. The leader of these sackers says, "Hey, so you're here? We want some stuff from you." And her is like, "Oh yeah, babe, is that what you want?" She's like, "Babe, I like that name. I'm Babe. My name is Babe. I'm Captain Babe. Babe is my name." And they're like, "What just happened? Why is she? We called her a name. Why is she calling herself by the name we just called her?" Uh, we're never going to get a real satisfactory answer for that, other than they're young and impressionable. Um,
And
but they said that they want Kirk to be captain of their ship, and in exchange for that, they're going to help them seal the rift that is open between the universes. Well, that seems like a fair trade.
I'll go along with that trade.
Yep. If you're Kirk, you're like, well, that seems reasonable to me, right? If nothing else, you're going to be on the ship long enough to figure out where the thing is, so that you can take it and do your Enterprise incident, take it, have Scotty beam you off there, run away, and it was they're chasing you at flank speed, and right before they fire the disruptors, you do a hard left, turn on the cloaking device, and you're out. You're in the wind. They'll never know.
It doesn't matter how many Romulan warbirds are surrounding you. If you stomp on the gas,
That's right.
You're good.
Thank you. I think we all know that. We have been taught
By
that.
the way, I sent you a picture today of my hammock that I bought.
Yes. I'm glad it wasn't a banana
and,
hammock, so thank you for that.
You're welcome. And that's for my OnlyFans, Butch. But
You're welcome.
hammock, and as you know, I'm assembly challenged.
Yep, I resemble that.
This hammock was easier to put together than a Romulan cloaking device. If you remember, a Romulan cloaking device, you put it in and you turn it clockwise.
Rotate it a quarter turn clockwise. That's right.
That's right. That's how this hammock was. I didn't have to use any tools. You just take the three pieces and click them together.
Boom. That's nice. Hammock. And then you're reading a book.
And then you're reading a book in the sun.
Yep.
And sock drawers, shoe drawers, shoe boxes, chores, dusting, all that is light years away, Butch, because you're living the dream in a hammock.
Well, I would ask you what book you're reading, but I know that that's a spoiler, so we're saving that for later. So, all right, so we're moving on. Spock and McCoy learn they lose contact with Kirk. Bones is fretting. Spock is working the problem. The Sackers provide dinner for Kirk and his fellow compatriots, Uhura and Chekhov. Chekhov figures out why they didn't just kill all of the Zergosians. It turns out they're like, well, they said to you right there that they're not very good with the weapons. So when the Zergosians were like, yeah, they kept shooting at us like they were playing around with us. It's because they can't aim, right? So that's the reason why they have this mighty warship, but they cannot use it because they suck. That's why they need Kirk to be their captain, so he can teach them to be good at blowing up Federation ships and Federation colonies. And this seems like an unfair trade, but there we go. They decide they're going to play it along, and they're going to plan how to resist and interfere with the plans of the Sackers. So we'll play along, but we'll have these little plots where we're going to derail them at every turn. We'll cause their engine to sputter. We'll pour a little sugar in the gas tank, and we'll do all that other stuff. That's right.
An episode by any other name, Butch, is what you would call this. We're going to subtly subvert them.
Have you ever tried vodka with orange juice? Have you? Okay. So meanwhile, they are reunited with Scotty. Scotty's the new chief engineer of the ship because it turns out they needed captain, comms, navigation, and engineer, but they already found Scotty. So Scotty's been on the ship working, and he's talking about how they got this big green fellow that follows him around or whatever, and their job is to train the trainees, right? So he tells them, yeah, by the way, we lost Rolfson and Ching and Franklin and all this stuff, but we're going to do this training thing, and And meanwhile, Spock and Bones are way behind in the news because they still think Scotty's in the blister down on the planet, but they go down there, it's abandoned. So they're like, okay, we're 2 steps behind, I guess. So we'll come back to them in a chapter or two later, because right now we got to move on. So Kirk is.
I do, but
oh, go ahead, yeah,
if I may though,
please.
I understand why the Enterprise crew is so worried about Scotty. If there's a more flammable member of the crew than Scotty, I don't know who that would be.
He's a guy who made it 3 seasons wearing a red shirt. It was
That's
only
right.
a matter of time. I mean, he's very volatile. Like, yeah. Plus, he's a volatile individual. I mean, he can explode
Yeah.
at a
Plus,
moment's
he's
notice.
soaked in alcohol at all times.
That's
So
exactly right. So, yeah. So we're always worried, and we almost always rely on him to get the transporter working again, or the engines working again, or whatever. So Kirk is in charge on the Sacker ship, and they're running some exercise, and he's really tough on them. It seems like he's hazing them to be mean to them, to belittle them, and also making them think they're not as good as they are by having Scotty play mind games with them with the technology and stuff like that.
you know what I think Kirk was doing here?
What's that?
I think Kirk was going all Spock from I Mud. He's like, I hate you, but I love you. Right?
Yes, that's an excellent point. I think you're right. There's something to be said about that because he's definitely giving them mixed signals, right? And
Yeah.
I think though, as this goes on, I think Kirk himself has mixed feelings about this, right? He's trying to dissuade them, but he feels bad because whatever these guys are, they're nice to them. They're courteous to them, right? They're thankful. Oh, it's so nice of you to talk to you. And the fact that they are all like just hanging on every word they say, they're idolizing these guys.
And you know, if you name one, even no matter how derisive the name is, they take it as such an honor.
They don't know
And
the
one of them,
derisiveness of the names. It's like one of them gets called Ivan the Terrible, and one of them gets called Rasputin, and they don't know that
it's
those are
like
villains, right?
it's like the old XFL. You know, he hate me is at the helm.
Yeah.
And you know, and so Kirk kind of feels like because a couple of them, he's like, yeah, I'm just, maybe one day you'll be ready, but I'm not naming it yet. And it's you can tell it really hurts their feelings, pisses them off.
Did he
And
name one of them? Did he name one of them? He, him, she, her, theirs. I think there was a pronoun name in there too. I thought, man, that is ahead of its time right there. Although
yeah,
you could imagine that's how they want to be referred to. That's how they identify. So it's hard to tell male from female in this unless you listen to how the translator translates. I like how you have some 7 foot blob with red stuff and white worms inside them, and you're like, well, it must be a female because the voice coming out of this translator is a female. I was like, I didn't tell you my pronouns. You don't know.
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, that's so as soon as you think it's progressive, they're right back in the regressive thing or reverter. I guess it's called a reverter, but it's fine.
Knuckle Dragon
Yep.
Zergonians or
Yeah,
whatever the hell
yeah.
they are.
Scotty's doing his flim flam thing, telling Mr. Green about the Framistat that he's jury rigged, which is just some bullshit thing that he's made up to make the guy think, oh, look at this thing, everything runs through this, and it's just a nonsense toy on the wall, which I thought was kind of funny. And he's
Yeah,
yeah. So that was yeah. There's some good moments of Scotty down there doing that kind of stuff, and Kirk up on the bridge yelling at Blue, and then telling Blue's like the Sulu of this ship, right? Or this guy wants to be Sulu. That's what Sulu's one role in this is to be like the mythical Sulu, who's like the best there is. And if Sulu was here, he would be hopping mad at you guys for taking so long to make that Immelman turn. Sulu would be, and they're like, "Oh, Sulu, yes." We all when we were kids, we all knew somebody like that. Was somebody we didn't know, but you heard about, who was like really
yeah.
cool. You're like, someday I'm gonna meet Sulu. It's gonna be so cool. I bet he's really cool.
I'm gonna meet Reed Brogdon and get some of his leftovers. Then it's gonna be glorious.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Jay will tell you all about Reed. Yeah, so then that's when Babe asked Kirk, "Oh, you want to go down to the quarters and have a little alone time with Uhura?" And Kirk's like, "No, I wait. Is that on the table? No, no." So good for him for resisting that. And then Kirk later in the next chapter, Uhura says she finally figured out what happened. That there was a temperature drop that killed a whole bunch of the Sackers. And the only ones that survived are the youngins. We will call them saccharennials. Yes,
Yeah.
I think I already did that, so I spoiled my punchline there. Da, 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 da. And so now these are little kids that are asking Kirk to teach them. Yeah,
What about the brat sack?
that's better. I like it. Brat sack. That is well played. I like that. So, her has also figured out a way for Enterprise to listen in. They just have to Framistat this flim flam thing, and now the Enterprise can listen in and see what's going on the bridge and stuff, and that'll be
Yeah,
great.
we'll play some Fizbin after the shift ends.
His ding! Oh, is that piano wire? Yeah, there's string. Yeah, exactly. So Spock and company figure out how to follow along with Kirk's hints and to relay messages to him, all using like ship movements and code words and all this stuff. It's all very confusing a little bit, but you know, it's important that they know each other so well that they can kind of like, oh yeah, that's a Kirk thing right there. What I just saw, uh, you know, he's live. He kicked it to the side and let us know. Yeah, so that's just one more thing that they stole from the immunity syndrome. So that's great. Uh, and it's right around here where Mr. Green is talking to Scotty, and he takes off the translator and just starts talking to him in his Scottish accent. Good for him. That was fun. I thought that was
That
great.
was fun.
But you know what else it is? Scotty is like really starting to think of this guy as like his a friend and not like the enemy anymore, right? So it's weird while Kirk is trying to like be duplicitous, some of these guys are winning our heroes over. They're very low. They're low-keying them. It's like, yeah, it's like, we're young. You're young. We're young. We got a lot in common here. We should get together and fight the power and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
and it's all going great right up until uh, one of Chekhov's helpers accidentally grabs a hold of him and he gets a bad burn and has to go to sick bay. So that was fun.
That's just Chekhov every other
Yeah,
episode. Ah,
yeah, it's funny. It is funny how Chekhov is known for being the guy who gets hurt and has to go to sick bay, or sick bay come to him, and it happens again in this novel. It's funny how that is. So Chekhov's in sick bay, and Kirk goes down to visit him in sick bay, and they find out that Babe knows that Uhura's been tinkering with things, and so she's like, you got to put Uhura in restraints and stuff like that. And he's like, that's not how a leader's supposed to be because
Kirk's like way ahead of you.
yep, yep, exactly. What do you think we were doing down there in the quarters while we were baiting? It's restraints, damn it. Uh, so Kirk and Scotty use subterfuge to convince the Sackers that they're not very good. And Blue, for his part, he's the helmsman on the ship. He loses his shit. I'm tired. Sulu, Sulu, Sulu. What is Sulu? Sulu and Sulu. What is Sulu? Yeah. So McCoy hatches a plan to use a sound hypnosis on the Sacker vessel, which sounds like a dumb idea, and it goes about as you'd expect. It's like Spock's like, well, it works on humans. Why do you think it would work on these guys? Well, what else we got? We got to try it. So they try it.
It worked on hippies. I don't know what, you know.
Well, it worked on Kirk and it worked on Scotty, but it didn't work
Yeah.
on the Sackers. And that pissed him off because next thing you know, Babe is giving Starfleet an ultimatum: surrender or we all die. Basically, we're tired of living as third-class citizens. Either surrender to us, or we're going to let this thing burn up the whole galaxy, and we don't care. We would rather be dead than continue living as a pariah in your galaxy, Federation. So give us what we want, or we're burning it all down. Which is an interesting motivation, I guess. We were wondering why would somebody build something that's like this, and it's like you're like, is it kind of like I'm going to be a little incorrect here and say, is it kind of like the kid that's bullied at school who's like, I'm being bullied at school and my life is miserable, and as a result, I'm going to kill myself and take as many of them with me as I can? Is that what we're talking about?
I think that's been done once or twice. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah. And so, so they just need to be convinced that they're loved, is what it is, right? So I think that's where they're going to go. And so the music trap is sprung, but it doesn't work. And Kirk applies tough love to Babe. he admits he's still on Team Enterprise and not on Team Zergos' ship, which she finds just baffling. I'm like, you don't know Jim Kirk the way we know Jim Kirk, lady. That's what it is.
I feel like the author missed an opportunity here to force Kirk to kiss the most repulsive person he's ever been around.
The interspecies kiss. That's right. Then we would find out how they taste. That's right.
Could have burned his lips off and make him puke and all, but would he have done it? I think he would have done it.
He'd take one for the team. I'd hit that. I mean, we
all remember the first Black Mirror episode, so who knows what would have happened.
That's fair. All right. So that's where they're at the end of chapter 9. So at the start of chapter 10, Starfleet gets back to Enterprise and says, by the way, we think you guys need to resist as much as you can. We're sending a ship to help, but it's going to get there well later than you need them to. So do something else. And he's like, and Spock's telling Quinlan, look, we just need to wait for Kirk to give us a clue. Kirk will come through. He always does. He'll fizbin the shit out of this, as you said earlier, Rob. We just have to figure out, we have to wait for the piano wire sound or wait for him to say, Spock, you're not well. And I mean, go, oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, I'm not well. Something like it'll happen, right? We just need to figure out when it happens. When he says Corbomite, we go. So that's their, and then Bones and Spock are disagreeing about whether Kirk is sending him a message for Enterprise to do something. And so Spock figures out a way to get a message. He says, we'll call him up and we'll say 7-hour deadline like 11 times, and hopefully they get it. And even Kirk at the end of that's going, all right, I get it, enough. They're gonna figure it out. Stop saying it, Spock. Even though he can't answer, but I think it's funny that he's thinking, yeah, we get it. Okay, stop it. You're overplaying your hand.
We barely got away with the obvious code in Star Trek 2. How much of this shit do you want to?
2 days. Yeah. So by the way, I was almost right on time because Chekhov, in fact, does the I'm sick routine. I need to go to sick bay, and then he takes the garbage chute. I'm not exactly sure what he goes down. I believe he says he blasts a hole in the wall and says, "Get in the garbage chute, flyboy," and jumps. He is the navigator. So, that's right when the Enterprise attacks. So it turns out that worked well, and they managed to. The Enterprise crew has left the bridge, and now all the trainees of the Sackers are left by themselves as the battle is ensuing, which is and they are somewhat unprepared for it, right? So there's the mayhem has been, or war has been declared. I guess I don't know if it's mayhem yet. We'll see. And so there's an engine fire in the Sacker ship, and I wrote this. I wrote Mr. Green stayed at his post while the trainees ran. It's true, he did. The fire is the problem is the fire is threatening the baryon reverter. Uh-oh. And the fire control system is not working. Double uh-oh. Double red alert. Kirk is trying to get a Mexican standoff where he's threatening to let the Sackers freeze. I put a Mexican Sacker standoff. I'm going to let you freeze, if I have to. We're going to win this one way or the other. You guys got to surrender. There's nothing else you can do. You're going to lose. And Babe, for a minute, looks like she's willing to go down with the ship. And she's like, all right, I surrender. You win. Which all seemed to end a lot quicker than I thought it was going to. It was not nearly as dramatic of a turn as I thought that was going to be. She's like, okay.
The captain scared him out of the water, is what happened.
Look! The captain has made them jump out of the way. Yeah, I get that's a Red October reference, ladies and gentlemen.
You remember how awesome that was, though, in the theater?
Oh, yeah.
That was the best.
All right, Chief, put her on the deck. And then Russians think that they're not doing it on purpose or whatever. So Spock,
3 feet of air that time.
Yeah, Spock beams over. They have their reunion. And Spock's like, Kirk's like, welcome to my new ship. But the question is, can they save the ship? I don't know if they can save it, but they're renaming it because Kirk turns to Babe and says, hey, we like naming things, and you like it we name things. So the ship's name is now Babe in Arms with hyphens between all the words.
Terrible.
Okay, yeah. But you know what? Who doesn't care about it? Terrible. There's a guy in this crew who's happy that their name is Orange Juice and Vodka. So they're just happy to be part of it. So they're excited. It has my name in it, which you gave me. Sulu comes on a board, and everybody swoons. I thought that was great. Sulu does not have much to do in this episode. this book. Chekhov and her are getting all the love among the secondary characters, but Sulu is out of the picture a couple. He says a couple things, but then when he comes over, he's big man on campus over there because Kirk has been upselling Hikaru Sulu to the Sackers. So they are in serious hero worship. So good for them. So
what would you have named it, Butch?
What would I have named the ship?
I'm assuming you would not have named it Babe in Arms.
What was it? Bumblebee? Is that? Did I get that right? Optimus Prime. It would be Optimus Prime. That's what I would have named it.
I would have named it Beth.
After Drew's sister, or after the Kiss album?
After the Kiss song.
Oh, the Kiss song. You're right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Barians, I hear you calling.
Starship from the Elder. How about that one?
Yeah, I like it.
Barians, I hear you calling. I'm glad you stopped right there because we can't have any more of that. All right, so Bones finds out if he can operate on Sackers. He tries to figure out if they need a transfusion or a refill. We're never really given a clear answer on that. I'm also unclear as to whether Mr. Green died or not. We find out that somebody died in engineering, and I thought it was Mr. Green, but then I thought maybe Mr. Green didn't die. I don't think he did. So if he did, I'm imagining Scotty carried him up to the bridge. However he do that, I'm not sure.
7 feet tall and burning his arm off.
That's right. And then we learn that they're not Sackers, they're Vinithi. We're not going to dead name them anymore. So as soon as here's the thing, this is 1988, and when Kirk says, "Oh no, they're not Sackers or Vinithi," Spock's like, "I am very happy to hear that. That's what we will call them then. Their correct name." And so you can tell Spock is woke AF because he's like, "Yeah, I was just trying. These guys were trying to blow us up like 2.5 minutes ago, and now I'm like, giving them the courtesy of calling them the name that they wish to be called."
Spock, is he's a cool cat, man. It does. You don't need spores to make Spock forgiving, live and let live type of guy. He really is the best.
You don't need it, but it doesn't hurt either. So I guess there's that. So they got to save.
It helps his game a little bit. I'll say this: the little blue spores help Spock's game a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's right, absolutely. He's not afraid to let his hair down and put on the green jumpsuit. As the case may be. So
it's much more acoustic if the spores are right.
That's a guy who plays an acoustic Vulcan harp. Actually, I believe that's an electric Vulcan harp. Now that I think about it. So then they got to save the baryon reverter. Uhura tries and reaches that and then realize while she's doing it that the dream she has, she's living that dream right now. That's pretty weird. When you're like, oh shit, the 3 people down there, I saw them in my dream. Because I die in my dream. It's like, so she doesn't like it. So she kind of freezes up, but Kirk talks her through it. She succeeds. She gets hugs and cheers all around. And then there's a fire, so they all have to crawl into some I don't know, very right out of that one of those little cargo holders right out of the Strange New Worlds episodes or whatever. And they're all in there, and there's some zany moments in there where it's like, I can't see in here. Captain, can you please move your elbow? Chekhov, that's my tits. All that stuff, and that was Kirk saying that, by the way. So, and then eventually they're calling for help, and McCoy comes and opens the container, and everybody's
a truck in your pocket. Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly. There literally is something like that. I was like, I hope that's a wrench, Mr. Scott. Aye, it's a 7.5, but it's metric. I don't know what that means. Whatever. If that's good or bad, I don't really know. So anyway, now the problem has been solved. All they got to do now is get the baryon reverter to the place where they have to use it to turn off the heat, right? So there's only that to do. And so while they're on their way, they find out that the Sackers live a long time, so these kids, quote unquote, may actually be 100 years old. And I'm like, Mary much? Yeah, it's like because that's exactly Mary's a 300-year-old girl, little girl and stuff like that. So that felt very much like that. Admiral Quinlan says he'll consider sending the Sackers, the Venithi, to the re-education camps, and all those enemy Sacker ships have all disappeared. Once Babe declared surrender, they all scurried away. So the problem of all the Federation outposts being threatened is over, which is good. Kirk remains adamant that this is going to work. Spock is Johnny Raincloud. He's like, well, I don't know if it's going to work or not. And so, but if they do, they activate the reverter and kapla, high fives all around. And then Chekhov, we met this girl, Raina, like a paragraph ago. Oh, Kirk goes, there's that girl, Raina, who he doesn't really know. And she's hugging and smooching with Chekhov. All right. So Chekhov is Kirk gets all the accolades, but Chekhov is a fast mover, is what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
It's like, you are very beautiful. And she's like, oh, Chekhov.
That's the bad maneuver, I
believe. So then the weirdest thing is the last scene, Rob. At the last scene, Spock kind of like leaves the bridge unexpectedly and goes to his quarters, and Kirk goes and knocks on the door. He's like, hey, Spock, it's me. Can I come in? He's like, yeah, he comes in, and he looks pretty devastated. He's like, he's overcome by awe. He says, I've never felt fear before now, but I felt fear and I overcame it. I don't know exactly what the point of all this is, or whether she knows. By the way, Spock probably has felt fear before, stuff like it's fine. It was just a weird ending to the book and stuff like that. I felt, they should be on. Shouldn't they be like on the bridge making a funny note, and then we get the freeze frame? Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So we get this weird ass ending. I don't know. We knew that this was not going to end with the destruction of the universe. Did we know? Were we fairly certain of that? So, but that's just like every other episode of Star Trek, when you know that they're going to blow up the aliens, and you know that they're going to blow up the Doomsday Machine. You know that they're going to blow up the amoeba. You know how it's going to end, but it's getting there that's the fun part, I guess.
Yeah, but it does make me wonder why Kirk takes any shit at all from Starfleet. Like, court-martialed this, dicks. How many times have I saved everything there is to save?
Yeah.
You gonna give me a fucking free pass or what?
Yeah. Prima Nocta, baby. That's what he's holding out for. There's a guy who already has Prima Nocta. It's that guy. All right, so I'm not sure if I really liked the last chapter, how they wrapped it up. It felt like once they saved the Baryon reverter, they could have just said, anyway, we defeated the thing and move on. And like I said, the last scene felt weird and forced, I guess. But other than that, I don't have too much in the way of complaints about this book. I think it was.
Yeah, I enjoyed the ride. It, makes no sense.
Yeah.
The plot makes no sense.
Nope.
Something about, slingshotting around the moon and landing on the dark crystal Fortress of Solitude, and then moon patrolling over the, it was all nonsense. But
you're Armageddoning it again, aren't you?
Oh, yes. Am I? I get distracted easily. But along the way, I was enjoying it. The characters seemed in character. Maybe not semantically all the time, but for the most part, I thought the Sackers were real interesting. And it was kind of fun when you found out about 2/3 of the way through. Hey, wait a minute! These are fucking Federennials. They're
Saccharennials.
It because they had established a little bit of menace in the start with just lighting people up like torches.
Yeah.
All the universe forming within our universe almost felt like an afterthought in the book. So it was like a MacGuffin that the author really, it got the ball rolling, and then basically all that was an afterthought to reclaiming the ship.
They stuck with the hot in flames and dying in flames motif, but they were coming up with different ways to do that, other than the thing that was the big scary MacGuffin, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it. It doesn't hold up to think about after you've read it.
Yeah. All right. So that leads us to the question. We've done 7 now.
We done 7 or 8?
I have 7. How many do you have?
8.
What okay. That's.
Are you forgetting Star Trek 2 maybe, or?
Well, I am remembering Star Trek 2. All right. So why don't you do your list?
All right.
And I'll see which one I'm missing. Yes, that's right.
All right. So at the bottom I have the Klingon Gambit.
Me too.
Then I have Doctor's Orders.
Me too.
Then I have Web of the Romulans.
Okay.
Then I think I have Star Trek 2.
Yep.
It might be that there's 7, yeah.
Okay.
Then I have this one, the 3-Minute Universe.
Yep.
Then I have Corona at 3.
Yep.
Romulan Way at 2, and My Enemy, My Ally at 1.
Son of a bitch! 7? My Enemy, My Ally. That's the one I'm missing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, that was the best one.
Wait a minute. So the Romulan Way. Is that this? Is
yeah, I have 8. I count 8.
Yeah. Okay. What the hell? Okay, so that's fun. I'm gonna have to figure out where I had the Romulan Way, because I didn't have that. Or I'm sorry, My Enemy, My Ally. Web of the Romulans. Six. Yeah. 5, 6. Okay, man. I'm gonna take your word for it. I'm completely lost on that. So, all right. So I have in this order: Klingon Gambit, like you said, Doctor's Orders at 6. I have Corona at 5. 3-Minute Universe, this one at 4. Wrath of Khan at 3. Web of the Romulans 2. Romulan Way at 1. Have we done the Romulan Way and My Enemy, My Ally?
Well, I have them written down.
All right, so yeah, Romulan Way.
Yeah, we did My Enemy, My Ally in August of 2022.
Was that what was that before or after?
That was the 3rd one we did.
So we had done
Doctor's Orders, then Corona, then My Enemy, My. It was maybe the 2nd one we did. I don't know.
We did My Enemy, My Ally.
Yeah.
And then Klingon Gambit, that was 4. Web of the Romulans is 5. Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan is 6. Right. Yeah, and then this is 7. I don't know. Boy, are we having trouble. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Price Waterhouse.
And then I saw that we had on deck we had Wounded Sky, which we never did. I don't know what's going on.
I didn't think we had Wounded Sky on deck.
I have that written down back in August, but.
Well, oh man, this is getting.
This is what happens when we don't, and I blame myself because I'm usually the one, not this week, but usually I'm the one who's behind on the reading of the books.
This is how the sausage gets made, ladies and gentlemen. Well, the fun thing about it is we have already rolled the next actual book we're going to do, and Rob has already started reading that book, and that book is number 33, Deep Domain. So all of that other stuff, Wounded Sky, doesn't matter. We're not doing that yet. It's Deep Domain is up next. That'll be either the 8th or the 9th book we've done.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll figure it all out, ladies and gentlemen. So
I can't believe you forgot My Enemy, My Ally.
Oh, I have it written down. I'm trying to figure out that. So when we are off air, I will figure it out. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us on our well-oiled machine that is that a Trek in your pocket, and we will see it. And so, Rob, you have any last thoughts?
Well, maybe we should call it the Sockers, is the ones who claimed here, but got Porous-Kova syndrome.
Yeah, that's right.
Live long and podcast, Butch.
You too.